San Francisco is located on the west coast of America, and this was one city that I particularly wanted to visit, as it has been the location for so many classic films. It's bigger than I expected, as the city limits roughly forms a 7 by 7 mile square. You definitely need more than a couple of days to do it justice, but that's all we had on this whistle-stop tour. There are plenty of attractions to visit, so many in fact that it's difficult to know where to start or what to miss out. So, like most tourists just passing through, we headed for the obvious. The Golden Gate Bridge has featured in so many films, and of course the 1972 TV series The Streets of San Francisco, starring Karl Malden and Michael Douglas. The bridge was eventually built after fierce resistance, and it was finally opened back in 1937. Most people describe the bridge's colour as red, but in fact it's named International Orange. This colour was chosen as it was believed to be the most visible in the frequently foggy conditions here. The island that can be seen from the bridge is Alcatraz, the location for the 1966 film The Rock, starring Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage. It's a huge attraction visited by thousands each year.
We've got different activities based on the day, based on our staffing.
To get tickets for the Alcatraz tour, you have to book months in advance. It's located just over a mile offshore, and I was looking forward to our first close-up view of the prison.
Historically, people like these birds because okay, last but not least, where we are today, how many visitors?
Originally, the island was developed with the facilities for a lighthouse, then a military fortification, followed by a military prison, and finally, as we all know from the various films we've seen, a federal penitentiary, housing Americans' most notorious criminals like Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly, and the Birdman of Alcatraz, played by Burt Lancaster in the 1962 film. Walking around the prison, seeing the conditions, facilities, and the occasional evidence of escape attempts, it felt to me quite creepy. Pier 39 is basically a tourist attraction catering for all ages.
On the count of 3, everyone yell fire in the hole! Fire!
It has an unusual 2-story carousel, favourite with the children. Plenty of shops and lots of entertainment.
1, 2, 3, fire in the hole!
There are numerous restaurants serving mostly fish, as you would expect. The pier is famous for chowder, a type of fish soup or stew, often prepared with milk and thickened with potatoes. All in all, it's a vibrant and colourful place to visit, and I am sure that sometime it has been the backdrop for a film or two. It was our last morning in San Francisco, so I thought there would be just time to fit in a ride on the famous cable car. The queue for tickets was quite long, and our coach would be leaving at 12 noon, but I insisted that we had plenty of time. However, waiting for our turn, it was a bit nerve-wracking, as the operators didn't seem to worry at all about our timetable. They took their own sweet time preparing the cable cars. It was quite interesting watching them turning the cars, etc., but the clock was ticking. Finally, we squeezed on board and we were on our way. The ride up and down the streets reminded me of the famous car chase in the 1968 film Bullitt, starring Steve McQueen. The San Francisco cable car is the last manually operated cable car system in the world. While the cable cars are used to a certain extent by commuters, the vast majority of their 7 million annual passengers are tourists. The cars are pulled by a cable running below the street, held by a grip that extends from the car through a slit in the street surface. The cable car driver is called the grip. His job requires him to know when to brake, release the cable, and coast over intersecting lines or places where the cable does not follow the tracks. The 1 1/4 inch cables run at a constant speed and are driven by a motor located in a powerhouse. This one doubled as a museum. San Francisco is now another destination crossed off our bucket list. It was all we'd hoped for and more, although a couple more days would have been good.
Everywhere you turn,
We did make it back in time to our coach, and then set off for our next stop on our West Coast tour.